A lot of ways after a divorce, you lose yourself, I think.
You do.
And you have to rebuild yourself in a different way. And you did that.
Yeah, I lost myself before I actually got a divorce. And I remember the exact moment in which that occurred for me. And hopefully I'll be able to share that pivotal moment and how it made all the difference in my life.
Well, I'd love you to share it right now.
Well, it was about 2005.
Okay.
Something like that, or 2006. And I was in the basement of my home, and I couldn't stop crying.
Yes.
And the more I told myself, Dr. Sue, to stop crying, the harder I cried. And my crying episode occurred in the most unusual way in front of my 4 kids. And when I realized that I couldn't get myself together, I got up from where the kids were playing in the basement, went upstairs, locked myself in the bathroom, fell on the floor, and cried my eyes out. The children were out of their mind because they could not understand how it was possible that a mother who always seemed to have it together was totally out of control. So they were banging on the bathroom door, saying, "Mommy, come out." And ultimately, my 7-year-old at the time, she went to the phone, called her father, and said, "Mommy's crying, and she won't stop." And her father reassured her. He said, "Don't worry, I'll be home." And in the meantime, he called my friend Phyllis. And he told my daughter, he said, "Taylor, I've called on Phyllis, she'll be there." My husband got home and he knocked on the door and he said, "Pam, open the door." I ignored him. Then he knocked harder. "Pam, open the door." And the harder he knocked, the more I ignored. Eventually I heard no voices, no more crying, no more knocking. And then I heard the soft voice of my friend Phyllis. She said, "Pam, it's Phyllis. You can let me in." The moment I heard her voice, Dr. Sue, I got off of my knees, opened the bathroom door. She came in, shut it behind her, locked it, and she fell to the floor. She wrapped her arms around me and she said, "Pam, I love you. I love you, Pam. It's okay." And she just rocked me and held me and kept telling me how I was normal and it was okay. That, somehow or another, she got me off that bathroom floor, Dr. Sue, put me in her car. We drove around the city. I was living in Harrisburg at the time. And she just reassured me that you are not crazy. I've been there myself. She was that woman who really made me feel I was normal. That made a big difference for me.
It does, and you know what we don't get from our, it's okay. What we don't get from our spouses, we oftentimes get from our girlfriends.
Yes.
And you got that from your girlfriend that day.
I got that from Phyllis.
So thank you, Phyllis.
Thank you, Phyllis.
For doing that for you.
Mm-hmm.
But your story, Pamela, is all too common. I hear from so many women that have the same story. That it is before the divorce that you're feeling this way.
Absolutely.
And it comes to this moment where everything comes crashing down and you find yourself crying on the floor or laying in bed for days. And you can't imagine how your life got to this point.
Total breakdown mode.
Total breakdown.
Breakdown.
And then you have to build yourself up again. And that's what you did.
I did.
And how did you do that?
Well, I'm so glad you asked me that, because when I realized, when I had that breakdown in front of my kids, and I'm grateful that I had it in front of my kids, because if not, they hadn't seen that wreck, I would probably still be pretending that all is well, I'm happy, nothing's wrong.
It showed you were human.
It showed I was human, absolutely.
That parents hurt too.
That parents hurt, and parents can be a wreck too. And that's when I realized I didn't like the wreck I was. I was tired of pretending that everything was okay when it wasn't. I was tired of hurting. So I did something. I started down a self-improvement journey. I read every book I could get my hands on. I went to the Landmark Forum. I don't know if you're familiar with the Landmark Forum.
I know Landmark.
I went to the Landmark Forum. I got coaches. I saw therapists, because I didn't like the woman I saw in the mirror. And I said, I've got to like her, because she's with me everywhere I go. She's with me in the grocery store. She's with me when I'm making the text messages.
But that must have took time.
It was not fast food, McDonald's, drive up and grab my burger of I'm, a magnificent. It wasn't that. I had to do a lot of hard work of the soul.